week 6. We started this when crazy times hit the globe and there was a need for support, I think, in the industry. A lot of us have lost our jobs. People have lost their livelihoods. But we're here to add some positivity, a sprinkle of joy for you weekly. All right? So thank you for joining us if you're here. We've got a great show today. We are here to talk to a very, very special guest. We'll be talking, I'll tell you about her in a second. We're going to be talking about how you're coping. I want to hear what you've been up to. Have you been creative, as we keep saying every week? Have you been creative? Are you feeling a bit more positive? It feels like restrictions are lifting slightly for some of us. In Australia, definitely, which is great news. I know the UK is starting to ease up a little bit. And also, I hear there's a heat wave in Europe. Boop, boop. That means we're all out in the parks. Social distancing, of course, but enjoying the sun, and it makes everything so much easier. It looks like also that there are new productions coming up, which is super, super exciting. Have you sent your CV out? That fresh, polished CV that you've been working on during the last 6 weeks. Send it out now, because there are lots of production companies looking for talent. So get on it. Anyway, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Yana Groves. I'm a TV producer. I'm a mentor and a trainer for people who want to get into the industry. I run Bloomtime Media. And I'm also a keen rhythmic gymnast. Believe that, you believe anything. Anyway, I have to tell you that we have an exceptional guest today. Her name is Janine Cooper. She is an executive producer. She's made shows like The Masked Singer, The Bachelor Franchise, glitzy, glamorous award ceremonies, you name it, she's done it. She's a veteran in our industry, and she's someone highly, highly respected. And having worked with her, she's a force to be reckoned with, I tell you that much. So without any further ado, I'd love to introduce you to Janine Cooper. Welcome.
Hello, Yana. I don't know that I can quite cope with that introduction, to be honest, but
Why?
Well, I'm thinking of the last time we worked together. There we were running around in Fiji in shorts and T-shirts in the rain, I think. But
it absolutely was in the rain with 100% humidity and also, what do you call it? That sort of, trench foot. I think we all had trench foot at that stage.
And my hair going, brrr, yeah.
So, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. This Facebook Live literally was set up to give people some encouragement during a really tricky time. And we've been lucky enough to speak to all sorts of fabulous people. We've had Laura Cassidy, incredible producer. We've had...
Incredible producer.
Yeah, a great producer. We've had, who else? Alex Mavrodakis last week.
Amazing.
We spoke to Jasmine Parkinson from TVCV.
Fantastic.
Wonderful head of production. So we've spoken to incredible people. Angie Greaves, who's also a radio DJ, and sort of gave us that UK perspective, which is invaluable. But to have you is...
Well, I don't know. I think you're kind of going up like that and now you go...
Yeah. Oh, no, there are no one's watching. No one's watching, are you? No one.
No one's left, yeah.
So, Janine, tell me about how you've been during this crazy time.
Well, like so many people, my show was shut down. I was EPing Bachelor. I was just... so I was just finishing off that because I was, I'm a freelancer, gun for hire. And so, I had organised a great year. Before COVID-19 struck, schedules struck. So I was hoping to do all of Bachelor and then do Masked Singer, but unfortunately with schedules and hiring of studios and all that sort of stuff, schedules didn't quite fit. Everyone who's a freelancer will understand this. And I ended up having to... I started off Bachelor, got an amazing EP, just gave him sort of all the information that I know went there. And then I was moving on to Masked Singer, and we had to close down Bachelor. Masked Singer's got moved on later in the year. So I have actually been doing something quite interesting, which I've never done before. I've been involved in some corporates, and a guy I've worked with who has a big events company, his business obviously was about to go down the gurgler, and he said, I know, I'll put all my corporates and I'll put them online. But he didn't want to just do them like a Google Meet.
Yeah.
He actually wanted to do, like he said, I think we should make them like a TV show. And I went, okay.
That
and
I can do. That I can do.
Exactly, that I can do. But it's been interesting for me because I've had to deal with the corporate world, which I've not really done before. And I've had to sort of take my ideas and gone, oh, okay, well, for a corporate business, that's not quite right. We're going to make it this way instead. So it's been a big learning curve for me, but really interesting. And Mars Singer's starting up again soon, and I'll go back onto that when that's happening.
Huge success. 1.4 million in the finale for the last series, correct?
Pretty good, huh? Pretty exciting.
It's so exciting.
Fun show to make. Like, so much fun.
And, it's one of those shows which I liken probably to the Gogglebox effect. It was a tried and tested. It had been tested. Where was it? In Korea?
It started off in Korea, and then went to the US. It's also on in UK and a couple of other countries now, but it had been in Korea and the US when we did it. Yeah, yes. UK hadn't done it yet, I don't think. Yeah.
And so when we knew it was being produced here by the lovely you,
thank you.
Would you say that your expectations that it would hit such a high level in the first series here?
No, not at all. And in fact, it's a funny story. We finished making it, and actually I was away, and I was walking in Portugal amongst the vineyards with my husband.
As you do.
And as you do. And I knew that I knew it had gone to air, and that the ratings would be coming out midnight Portugal time. But I'd been walking a long way, and I'd been drinking a fair bit, and it got to sort of like 10 p.m. at night, and I went, no, I'm out. And I went to sleep, and at about midnight, my husband wakes me and goes, Janine, the ratings are in. And I remember opening one eye going, do I care? Like, do I want to know about them? And he went, oh, yes, you do. And he just handed me my phone, and I went, oh, yes, I do. And then, of course, I spent like 2 hours on the phone ringing everyone in Sydney. So, yeah. Look, but, I always say nobody sets out to make a bad show. We all set out to make a great show. When you make a show, and how many shows have we all worked on that are great shows but might not resonate with the audience? So when you make a great show and it resonates with the audience, it's fantastic.
Well, and also it's that focus on it's perfect family viewing. It's family entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone could sit down and watch it, and there was a little bit of something for everyone. There was a guessing, which was fun. There was a music, which was very, we deliberately made it broad. The costumes were, designed by the amazing Tim Chappell, were just stunning. Yeah. So it kind of had a bit of something for everyone. So, look, you've done it the same. You're out on a set, the crew's enjoying it, we're all having fun making the show. You think this could be good, but until it goes to air, you just don't know. And yet, touch wood, it went really well. Touch wood, it does well again this year.
Oh, so do you think we are geared towards series 2?
It will happen later this year, yes.
That is great news. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not all bad news out there, everybody. It's not all bad news.
No, and things are beginning to gear up again. Well, in Australia they are, which is exciting.
Absolutely. And they will. Look, we know this will change things probably forever. It'll change the way we work. But I think we will have a new normal that's, fingers crossed, probably more positive. We all needed this step back to take a breath and look at what we're doing.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And how we're doing it. So that's really interesting. So you've been upskilling, side skilling in the technical arena and in the corporate arena. So, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit because, as you know, I run training and mentorships for people who want to get into telly or people who want to take the next step into being a producer, for example. So we've talked a lot about upskilling and doing something you haven't done before. For me, it's this. What's yours been?
Well, for me, look, I've done a lot of pitching to networks, and I've done a lot of pitching to sales clients. As an executive producer in commercial television, you do that all the time. There's a product, sales want to get, want them to sponsor the show, and they'll bring, the executive producer in to talk to the salespeople about how can you include it in the show. So I'm used to doing that. I'm not used to dealing with head of major corporations, like top 100 companies. They have X number of dollars. They're not quite sure about this whole, TV show. They're a little bit excited because it's a bit different, but they're also not really sure, and they're trying to decide, is this worth their money? And also, how badly do they want to be involved? So to actually have to pitch to them, listen to what they want, try and digest it, try and make simple words out of it and go, oh, okay, I see your problem. Now here's the solution. So that's really different from what I normally do, because normally it's like here's an hour of black, fill it. Whereas this was, I had one corporation who were trying to talk to their clients about a very complex economic problem, not my area of expertise at all. And they gave me pages and pages of stuff, which I then had to digest and go, okay, well, this is how I think we would actually deal with it, and how we would actually communicate to your clients, and make sense of it. So that's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be funny and fun. So I'm working out. I've got a award show that we're doing online for a big client, and I said, let's do a comedy opener. And then I realised, there's no money, so I'd be writing that comedy opener. And it's like, and I'm thinking in my head, we'll get a crew out and we'll shoot it. No. So now I've worked out how we can shoot a comedy opener with all the heads of this company on via Skype. And,
Wow.
And that's
the key, isn't it? That's the key. Via Skype or via Zoom or via, yes.
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy.
that's been interesting, just working out, taking what I would normally do and making it a little bit different.
That I find really exciting. I also have worked for corporate clients before, and I was once asked to make financial services sexy. Insurance, financial planning, and what was the third thing? And taxes.
Nice, great.
So I did this. Bye. And then thought, hold on, this is the ultimate challenge. If I can make something that is mildly interesting out of something that tends to be quite dry, interesting still, but in terms of converting that into story and something that's engaging, it can be tricky. And actually we managed to do it to some degree.
But you know what? That is what we do. That is our job, is a good story told well. That's all people are interested in, whether it is, an entertainment show like Masked Singer or something like The Bachelor, or a corporate, or an award show. It's just about a good story, telling it well. And that's our job.
That is absolutely our job. And speaking of our job, we said we would talk about making history, because we are making history at the moment, but also about making love. Now, children, cover your ears. No, it's not that kind of making love. I'm talking about making love shows. Creating an environment in which love can thrive.
Yeah.
And as executive producer on many of the shows on the Bachelor Franchise, how on earth do we move forward with that, especially that genre, in this climate?
Oh, look, it's interesting, isn't it? I know that they are. I'm obviously not producing that series because I think it'll be really super interesting. It's an interesting concept because it's not just about working with the talent and telling the story so it's nice for on air and that the audience goes, yes, that's all safe. It's also about keeping your crew safe, keeping your talent safe. So it's a much bigger picture, and it is tricky. And, and in television, we're very much a, hi, how are you? Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. Or, hey, I need you to go over and do this. Or, hey, this is the next thing. The talent think this, but this is actually how we're changing the story. And you're whispering in everyone's ear. So the night we closed Bachelor down, I'm trying to talk to Osher Ginsberg, the host, and say, this is what we're doing. And he kept taking the 1.5 metre step back, as he should. And I'm like, trying to whisper.
And you're leaning into his face.
And in the end, I said, okay, you stand over there. I'm just going to do semaphore to you. But I think it's for all shows. I think it's a real challenge for everybody. But I think, like you said, though, I think it's going to be the new normal. And I think, logic says, however, that, the government has said if it's your partner, you can be closer than 1.5 metres to them. Plus, you have to remember that everybody who is, all the talent on a show like The Bachelor, they're all living together in a house and they are actually already in lockdown. So they're actually quite safe. It's actually, they don't have to actually worry about each other because they're all in their nice little bubble.
Yes,
it's actually the crew coming in, and it's dealing with the crew and how they, and all the new precautions they bring into place, put in place, so that they don't accidentally give anybody else that any illness.
It's a minefield, really.
Yeah,
but we'll get there. And I think it'll be small production by small production. And in terms of, we're talking about the new normal, how you've worked on a million shiny floor studio audience-based shows that need that interaction and thrive off the energy of an audience. What do you do now?
Yes, I know. And look, we're already in talks. Me and the other EP, we've sort of come up with various ideas. And the thing is that everything's moving so quickly. So, a week ago, you could only have 2 people in your house in Sydney. Now you can have 5 people. You can have, who knows what's going to happen in a week's time, in a month's time, in 2 months' time, how many people you can have in a venue. The Rugby League want to be able to have audiences by July. So I think that, later on in the year, we'll be able to have audiences. I don't think we'll be able to have the 350 people in the audience that we used to have, nor will they be able to be, shoulder to shoulder. So I think that we will use really clever lighting, basically, to create the illusion. We've always had
cardboard cutouts.
Yeah. Oh, don't think about that.
My face repeated on every row. Canned laughter.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting because I don't know if you've been watching a lot of the comedy shows. The canned laughter actually doesn't work. It's better when they acknowledge that there's nobody there.
I totally agree with you. I worked on a little show recently which in post added canned laughter. And it was really bad.
It's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one. I think that, we're looking at audience shows. You will be able to have smaller audiences. You will be able to have, like a family group who don't need to be 1.5 metres apart. So I think that I think all shows will end up, having smaller audiences in clumps of people.
Yeah.
We'll lose all the bleachers, that normally have. So, we'll have everybody like on a mosh pit.
Yeah.
We'll have clever lighting
all
around.
All 4 people. All 4 of them.
All four people, yes. That audience girl, she's going to be working real hard.
That's right. And, it's going to sound a little bit like this. See?
Nice.
It's nice. Almost as if I have an audience
in
my living room.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I don't. Social distancing, don't worry. I'm just finding it so interesting to see and hear what people have been up to and how their productions are changing. It's an exciting time.
Yeah.
It really is. So, we're getting some nice comments. Hi, Dee. Thank you for joining us. And sorry, I think it's great. It's time to get some comments. It's really nice to know that people are listening and interested. So, Janine and I are here for another 10 minutes.
Perfect.
If you fancy asking any cheeky little questions or making any cheeky little comments, please go ahead, send us a little message. And also, I will mention this again, the website bloomtimemedia.com. if you want to see what we do, and info@bloomtimemedia.com if you want to email us. But hey, we're live now, so drop us a line. So Janine, also, I just wanted to talk about, some of the news, which seems to be quite positive. So what I'm hearing is that productions are getting back on track, as we know. Screen Australia apparently has announced funding of $600,000 for new screen projects.
Wow, that's great.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Because, the issue is funding. If people aren't putting money into productions, we can't make content. I also hear Elvis has not left the building. Baz Luhrmann is planning or hoping to return to Australia once, the airspace opens up. So that's cool. He wants to finish what he started. And that was a big production up in Queensland.
Oh, yeah.
So look, all I can do, and I'm sure you're feeling the same way, is take those positive snippets of news and run with it.
And you know what? The thing is that networks have airspace they need to fill, and thank goodness Australians want to watch Australian programming. So they've got to make the shows. They've got to fill the slots. So that's a positive.
And then also in terms of the global landscape, which I think is a very exciting space to be in, just because we have streaming platforms now, and we have the ability to broadcast on a global stage. That means there's obviously more need for quality content.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so in terms of your vision for the future, if anyone's watching and wants to know, first of all, how to get into telly, what would your advice be?
Okay, I'm going to say really boring things, and anyone who's looking for something really exciting, you're probably going to be really disappointed. But I've thought a lot about this, and I get asked this a lot. Okay, so if you want to get into TV and you've not worked in it at all, first things first, get your driver's license.
Oh yes.
Learn how to drive a manual car. Because I can't tell you the number of times people have said, "Oh, Janine, you've got to move your car." And I say, here's my keys, just move it. And they go, "Oh, it's not a manual, is it?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh, I can't move it." And I know that sounds really stupid, but when there's, you get 100 CVs when you're crewing up, you're going to go for the person. You go, "Oh, I remember that person. Yeah, they could just get in and do it," because they could just get in and do anything. So you want someone so get your license and have the real can-do attitude. It's like, yes, oh, you want a coffee? You want another coffee? You want another coffee? You want another coffee? That's really boring, and I feel bad when people have probably got, for their HSC or VCE, they've got 99.95, so they've, got brains, huge brains, they've been to university, and now their first job in TV is a runner getting coffee. But, all the really great producers that I've worked with in the last couple of years, they've started as runners on my shows, and they've said to me at the end of the first series, "Hey, I just hung around when I wasn't running, and I watched this happen, and I watched that happen, and why did that happen?" And I'd say, "Well, because of blah blah blah," and they go, "Oh, okay," and I'd think, "You're smart, you're interested, you're enthusiastic," and I'll bump them up the next level. So there's a bunch of people you and I both work with, and that's how they've kind of got started, because they were a runner on various shows that I was working on. So get your driver's license, be super enthusiastic, and upskill. So, nowadays, learn how to shoot. No, I don't mean, on a huge, expensive camera. I mean, you can make great shows on your phone.
Absolutely.
Learn how to frame up. Learn how to do all that sort of stuff. Download the apps on editing apps on your laptop and work out how to edit. So just because, again, people have come to me and they've said, "Oh, I did this little doco, or I did this series, and it went online, and maybe not very many people saw it." That actually doesn't matter. The fact is, I go, "Oh, you know how to make something. A, you know how to make something. B, you're not just here because you thought it would be fun. You're here because you actually really want to just tell a story."
And you're interested. We thrive off passion. You
Yes.
and I have worked on productions where together, and we've had conversations, you and me, about people who have blown our brains.
Yeah.
And they just keep popping up. They keep appearing. They keep
Yeah.
asking questions. They keep
Yeah.
offering solutions.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really exciting
Yeah.
to me.
And the other two things that if somebody, if you're going for a job interview or you're talking to somebody, even if you have not seen their show, do not say I haven't seen your show. Just pretend. Just pretend. God, I've done it enough in my life. Oh, you're great show. I loved it. Just pretend. Except one time I was asked by, this is a very long time ago, and I went for a job interview, and they rang me and said, please come in. I didn't really want to do the job, but because it wasn't in Sydney, but I thought, oh, I'll go in and I'll meet with them. And the EP said, so what would you do differently from last year? And I'd never watched a frame, and I bluffed my way through that meeting. I think he kind of fogged out I hadn't seen the show, but yeah. Fine.
Well, especially
But
if it wasn't quite
don't ever say,
relevant.
don't ever say you haven't seen the show, and don't ever say, oh, that's not really the sort of TV I want to do, but I'm prepared to do it. I had one person say that to me, and it was like, I'm really proud of the shows I make. I want to work with people who really want to make this sort of TV. Just bluff it, just lie if you don't want to, but tell me that you're really enthusiastic.
And that because you've taken the time out to speak to them, and you hope that somebody's going to want to be with you in creating this fabulous.
Yeah. Because I guess if there's one thing, sorry, spoiler alert, making TV is not that hard. It really isn't.
Don't tell them that, Janine.
Exactly. But, all you need to do is be super enthusiastic. You'll get there. And I know that's really hard right now. But that's if you said to me, what's the one thing, I'd say have enthusiasm. And if you haven't got it, just fake it.
Well, if you haven't got it, you probably won't be able to sustain it through the dark nights, wandering through swamps or running after cast members who may have run into the forest.
Yes, that's right.
This can happen, ladies and gentlemen. This can happen.
Yeah.
That's really great advice. We've got a couple more comments. Joe is saying, ladies. Hi, Joe. What's the one thing you've watched on telly during lockdown? Something that's blown your socks off.
Oh gosh. I've been really enjoying. Sorry, what's the show? What's it called? Whoops. It's the drama on Channel 10 on 8:30 on a Wednesday night. Secret She Keeps.
Oh,
it's really good. If you haven't seen it, go on Template and watch it. It's just a really great mystery.
We love mysteries.
Yeah.
I've been delving into little docuseries. I really love a docuseries, and something that is really gripping me at the moment are these small vignettes about life in the clubbing underworld.
Oh wow!
It's by Vice, which I think is an MTV station, and so they do things in a slightly alternative, gritty way, and I'm just fascinated by understanding new worlds and new lives. So I've been watching that. I've been, of course, don't kill me, watching Real Housewives. I put my hands up. I'm admitting it. It is one of my favorite formats of all time. It's juicy, it's voyeuristic, it's yappy, it's everything. It's all the. Have you seen it, Janine?
I've seen bits and pieces. Hey, I'm really sorry, but just before we logged on, I got a client call that I have to do at 4:30. I'm really sorry. And I just realized, sorry about that. Wow. I should have said that. Sorry.
You know what? You're lucky because it's 4:30 and it's probably time to say goodbye. But look, I am elated that you could join us. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, no, it's great to talk to you. And good luck to everybody out there.
Do you know what? I'm sure everyone will be taking that on board, and all the hints and tips have been on fire. Stellar. Please, will you come and do this again one day?
For sure.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Janine Cooper. Legend of all legends.
Thanks for having me. See ya. Bye.
Bye. What an incredible woman this lady is. How lucky are we? That was Janine Cooper, executive producer of huge formats. She's a love maker, a history maker. Incredible, phenomenal. So look, it looks like our time's up. Lucky she had to go to a client call. I've heard that excuse before. In fact, I've used that excuse before. Oh, it's urgent. I've got to go. I must run. Terrible things to do. Thank you for being with us. Let me just remind you, get in touch. Oh, I've got some good news. I always have good news. We are launching the next course online. It's not the full course. This is a little snippet, so you don't have to take. It doesn't have to take up your whole life. 2 2-hour courses across 2 days. 222. It's a holy number. So we will be letting you know how to book in next week. But put it in your diary if it's something you're interested in, just so you can be ahead of the curve and be ready to press go when you're ready. The dates are the 1st of July and 2nd of July, Wednesday and Thursday. Okay? 2 hours, 2 days. And you get to hear great insights from 2 industry leaders. Okay? Anyway, I'll tell you how to book in next week. Meanwhile, drop me a line. You can email us, bloomtimemedia.com. Notice how I didn't do the www this time. info@bloomtimemedia.com. Yay! So, next week, it's going to blow your mind. We will be talking to Lindsay Vine, who is an ex-cop, a development executive producer. He has created international formats and also the cheeriest pessimist you will ever meet. So don't miss that. That's next week, 4 o'clock Sydney time, 11 a.m. London time. No, I lied. 7 a.m. London time. Get up out of bed. You shouldn't be in bed at 7 a.m. Get up, enjoy the day, as my mum used to say. Enjoy the sunshine. Get a breath of fresh air. And I'll be your breath of fresh air if that so suits. So look, all that remains is to say thank you so much to you for joining us. Thank you to Janine Cooper. Thank you to Tara Johnson, exceptional production assistant / development researcher. Thank you to Tahe Interiors. Beautiful, beautiful interiors. And thank you to Natty for her hair artistry. And to all our supporters. We've had incredible response over the last 6 weeks. I love hearing from you. I love seeing your emails. I love seeing your messages. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining us. I'm looking at the messages now. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, everybody. It's been absolutely fantastic. Take care of yourself. Be safe. Stand out and be outstanding.